Matt Armstrong rebuilt a wrecked Ferrari 296 GTB from the ground up. Not as a shortcut, not as a stunt. He did the real work, stripped it down, sourced parts, documented every step, and even reached out to Ferrari directly during the process. Ferrari responded. They engaged. They sent him components when he asked. By every reasonable measure, this was a collaborative rebuild, not a rogue operation. And then, at the very last step, the car refused to start. Not because something was wired wrong. Not because a component was missing or damaged. The car was mechanically complete. The issue was the battery. Specifically, the battery management system. It was locked. And that one word, locked, is doing an enormous amount of work in this story. So let's talk about what that actually means, why it matters, and why this isn't just a story about one man and one supercar. First, some context on what we're dealing with. The Ferrari 296 GTB is a hybrid supercar. It runs a combustion engine and an electric motor in tandem, which means the high-voltage battery system isn't an optional feature or a convenience add-on. It's core infrastructure. It's load-bearing. The entire car depends on it. Because of that, Ferrari, and every other manufacturer building high-voltage hybrid and electric vehicles, designs crash sensitivity directly into the battery management system. When a car takes a significant impact, sensors register the event, and in many cases, the system will lock the battery as a protective response. This prevents a potentially compromised battery from being charged or activated, which in a worst-case scenario could mean fire or catastrophic failure. That's not a conspiracy. That's engineering. That's physics and liability working together, and it makes complete sense as a safety design. But here's where this story gets complicated. Matt didn't crash the car. He bought it already wrecked. The crash happened before he ever touched it. And throughout the entire rebuild, the teardown, the sourcing, the reassembly, Ferrari was aware of what was happening and chose to support the process. They weren't sitting on the sidelines. They were engaged. That's not the behavior of a manufacturer trying to protect its ecosystem from outside interference. That looks like a company that was, at some level, watching this rebuild happen and not blocking it, which makes the locked battery at the finish line so difficult to explain. Right now, there are two explanations sitting side by side, and nobody outside of Ferrari's engineering team can say with certainty which one is true. Explanation 1. The battery locked during the original crash and has been locked ever since. The rebuild didn't trigger the lock and couldn't clear it. It was always going to require a factory-level reset to wipe the crash event from the system's memory. This is frustrating, but it's logical. It's a safety system doing exactly what it was built to do, just at a moment that feels deeply inconvenient for everyone involved. Explanation 2. The battery system has manufacturer-level controls built into it, whether deliberately or as an incidental byproduct of how the system was engineered, that ensure a car which has been through significant damage cannot return to full function without the manufacturer's direct involvement. Not as a safety outcome, as a dependency, as a structural requirement that keeps the manufacturer in the loop and in control, regardless of how good the independent rebuild is. Those two explanations might look identical from the outside. The symptom is the same, a locked battery that won't respond. But what they mean for the owner, for the industry, and for the broader question of who controls complex modern machines, that couldn't be more different. Let's be precise about what's at stake here, because this is where the story expands beyond Matt's driveway. Right to repair is not a fringe conversation anymore. It's a legal battle, a political debate, and a consumer rights fight happening simultaneously across multiple countries. The core question is simple. If you own a machine, do you have the right to fix it yourself? Or does the manufacturer retain control over whether your repair is recognized by the machine? For years, this conversation lived in the world of smartphones, farm equipment, and medical devices. Now it's sitting squarely in the middle of the automotive industry. Matt Armstrong rebuilt this car. He invested the time, sourced the components, followed a legitimate process, and even had the manufacturer's cooperation along the way. By every traditional definition of ownership and effort, the car is his. He restored something that was broken and brought it back to the point of completion. And yet it won't start. Not because it's broken, because it's locked. So who holds the key to that lock? If the answer is Ferrari, and only Ferrari, then what we're looking at is something significant. Independent rebuilds of complex modern vehicles may not be truly independent at all. They can go 95% of the way. They can get everything right, every component, every connection, every mechanical detail. But that final 5%, that unlock, that digital clearance, belongs to the manufacturer. And if that's true, it changes the economics, the power dynamic, and the fundamental meaning of what it means to own one of these vehicles outside of an official dealership relationship. Because here's the structure that creates, whether anyone designed it that way or not, a world where the manufacturer is always the last step, always the gatekeeper, always the entity whose cooperation you need before the machine in your driveway actually becomes a functioning car again. And the thing is, Ferrari doesn't have to do anything aggressive to be in that position. They don't have to deny parts. They don't have to refuse communication. They just have to build their safety systems the way they've already built them. Let the battery lock itself after a crash. Be the only party with access to the reset. Let the engineering do the work. The outcome is the same, regardless of intent. Put yourself in Matt's position for a moment. He approached this rebuild with professionalism and transparency. He reached out to the manufacturer and they responded. He followed a process. He rebuilt the car to a point of mechanical completion that most people would consider genuinely impressive. And now he's standing in front of something that is physically whole but digitally frozen. That gap between physical completion and functional operation is where the frustration lives. And it's a gap that didn't exist in the same way 20 years ago. A car from 2005 didn't have a battery management system that could log a crash event, lock itself indefinitely, and require a manufacturer reset to clear. You could fix the damage, replace the parts, and drive away. The mechanical and the digital were separate layers. They aren't separate anymore. The mechanical and the digital are now fully intertwined in modern vehicles. And whoever controls the digital layer controls whether the mechanical layer actually functions. That's not a hypothetical future scenario. That's what Matt Armstrong is experiencing right now in real time. There's a version of this story where it ends well. Ferrari steps in, performs the reset, the car starts, and this becomes one chapter in a remarkable rebuild that Matt documents, celebrates, and drives. That would be a good outcome for him, and it would reflect well on Ferrari. But even if that happens, the principle doesn't go away. One case getting resolved doesn't change the underlying architecture. The lock is still there. The manufacturer still holds the reset. The next person who attempts an independent rebuild of a complex hybrid or electric vehicle is going to hit the same wall eventually. And the person after them. And the one after that. As vehicles become more sophisticated, more sensors, more software, more interconnected systems, this situation is going to become more common, not less. The 296 GTB is a high-end example, but the same logic applies across the industry. Battery management systems, over-the-air software updates, proprietary diagnostic tools, locked ECUs, these are not exclusive to Ferrari. Every major manufacturer is building versions of these systems into their vehicles. Which means this isn't a story about one collector and one supercar. It's a preview. It's a look at where vehicle ownership is quietly heading, and most people haven't noticed yet. Here's where we land. Matt Armstrong rebuilt a Ferrari. Ferrari helped him do it. And then a locked battery system stopped everything at the finish line. Whether that's a crash safety response that's functioning exactly as designed, a manufacturer control mechanism built into the system's architecture, or some combination of both, the result is the same. A fully rebuilt car that won't run. An owner who can't drive what he worked to restore. And a question hanging over all of it that the industry has not been forced to answer clearly. When a car can be locked by software, when clearing that lock requires manufacturer access, when the final step of a rebuild is not in the owner's hands but in the manufacturer's, who actually owns the car? Is it the person whose name is on the title? Or is it the company whose code is inside it? That question doesn't have a clean legal or philosophical answer yet. But it's coming. Because as more vehicles become more digital, more owners are going to find themselves exactly where Matt is, holding a machine that is complete in every physical sense, waiting on permission to use it. What happens next with this Ferrari is worth watching. Not just for Matt's sake, because the way it resolves is going to tell us something real about where this is all heading.